And my name is Dylan.
Yep. Hey guys. Good
He's
to be
back.
back. Good to be back.
Been how long?
I
A little
think it was
bit. I
December.
think the last time was a chapter discussion. Right?
Yeah, so it's I think it was the second last chapter we got, so yeah.
Yep, 409. It was 4 months ago. So yeah, been a bit.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked to you since. We kind of cut you off.
Yeah.
Kind of done with you.
Yeah. It's kind of just a business transactional relationship now,
Yeah.
so we just kind of stick to these moments are the only time we ever really talk, so
Yeah.
yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, this week we are going to be talking about Hunter x Hunter 1999 episodes 16 through 18, which Dan has just caught up to our watch through. He's I
Yeah.
assume you'll be going at the same pace from here on out.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
good time catching up when I was sick. I just blew through like whatever, I guess 18 episodes
18 episodes.
in a
Yeah.
couple days.
You want to give your brief thoughts on like what you've watched so far?
Yeah, that's a good idea, I guess. I enjoy it for the most part. It's definitely has its flaws and, 90s anime kind of, outdatedness, things like that. But, it's enjoyable. It's like a nostalgic ride, even though I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just cool to, I don't know, watch a 90s anime, I guess, and get the kind of soundtrack and sound effects and
Yes.
it's got a good vibe to it. I've always my chair is very squeaky, but I've always gotten screenshots and things like that, and I like the art direction for the most part. It goes up and down in quality, but they got some good shots and good lighting here and there and stuff, and I don't know. Animation is nothing to write home about, but I'm hoping maybe once we get to like York New City or something that has
Heaven's
a little
Arena,
more,
I imagine.
Heaven's Arena probably will have hopefully some better ones, but it's like I said, it's just 90s anime kind of technology also in a way with animation, and especially this was a weekly and ongoing for a while, so the usual stuff that comes along with that. But
Exactly. Yeah.
it's fun to watch, and it's
Yeah.
definitely
Pretty
worth
similar
watching.
sentiments here. Yeah, it's for sure worth watching. Yeah, it's got that. It definitely has that that nostalgic vibe, even though none of us grew up with it. It's just
Right.
kind of baked into the DNA of it.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely right.
So after we talk about these episodes, we will be going through our community comments. If you'd like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version on the weekly community posts. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are live, click the bell to enable notifications. If you're an audio listener, make sure to rate, review, and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you'd like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we provided timestamps in the description if you would like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments. Okay,
Classic.
so no news.
No.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
What's new? Nothing. That's what.
Yeah,
Nothing.
That's nothing is new. Nothing is ever new.
Yeah.
But we do have, of course, 2 pages of the battle to decide Owl's #1 fan from Leo Dog. And so I want to address a comment we got last week from an alienated viewer who it was their first episode watching, and we made no effort to explain what the hell this was. So I want to, going forward when we talk about this for people like them, I want to explain what we're doing. So this is a a comic, I guess, a fan comic. I don't like using the word fan, but whatever. A listener of ours is making this comic about an inside joke that we've had in the community since whatever chapter that was, 405.
Yep.
When we talked about that chapter about Owl and how we forgot about him, but then were reminded of him and did an episode. Yada yada. Go watch the Owl episode. It'll make sense.
It'll make sense after that. Yeah.
And yeah, this started off as just a singular piece of art for us, and now he has decided to turn it into a whole manga. So it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. It is.
I feel honored
I love seeing you
still.
guys' updates whenever you send them. You know,
we've been putting them in a group chat of ours whenever new pages come in. We have a whole discussion forum.
Yeah, very in depth. We record our own private podcasts and our thoughts and everything. We don't release it. But, yeah.
No, we don't.
Maybe someday.
We could.
So I'll take the first page here, and I guess Dylan, you'll take the second one. Dan, you don't get one. I'm sorry. There's only 2 pages.
That's all right.
So we start off here, continuing off from last week, where my eyes opened from after being unconscious, and we were debating on, are these red or are they orange? And hey, you know what? They are orange. So so I say, Dylan, I should tell you, I'm actually a member of a clan from the Dark Continent called the Goethe clan. Completely unrelated to the Goethe clan.
That line made me laugh so hard.
Big lore drop there. Huge.
Wow. Completely unrelated.
Thankfully, our eyes aren't really considered that beautiful, so the Phantom Troop never came for us. I love that. But when my eyes turn orange, I can see right through any ability and understand it completely. Wow, that's busted as hell.
Yeah.
And the way it activates is even more insane. So we're now in a flashback with my grandpa, maybe? That's some old guy. I don't know.
Some old guy.
He's saying, Kaige, whenever a member of our clan loses consciousness, however briefly, our bodies have a unique response. It's known as insight. See, look, I just woke up from my second afternoon nap. And I ask, so that's why you take so many naps? He says, no, I'm just old.
Hee hee.
Hell yeah.
You forgot the hee hee.
Hee hee. My bad.
Yeah.
So that's busted as hell.
That's stupidly busted.
I would just knock myself out in a fight, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like you just, what do you? What's there to lose?
I thought my ability was sick, but like he actually gave you the most broken ability between the two. Like it's not even close. I feel like
your ability has yet to be used to its full extent. This is a back and forth. This is a classic like Dragon Ball fight style. You're gonna see escalation in both of our powers, I'm sure, as we continue.
That's a good point. I guess on that note, we can move on to the next page though, where we see Kaige basically like burning the cable that's connected between me and Puppet Kite here, which is damn okay. Like, thanks, man, appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, no connection now, as said in the eyes of Kite here.
I love that. That is such a Togashi-like thing to do. That's just good. The no connection eyes. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I am shaking in my boots here now, sweating my ass off as Kaige continues. But that's not all. I have another ability. Okay. As we see a very colorful background behind him saying it's got 5 parts with fast forward, mute, special guest, and pause. It's like the different categories. This one's called Showtime. The only requirement is that I give you a description of each part. Starting with mute, I can silence your aura. Whenever I hit you, I'll forcibly close your aura nodes. What the hell, man?
Holy shit,
Kaige
man.
is broken, dude.
You're just gonna turn off my ability?
You got something up your sleeve. I
Surely.
know. There's something is gonna happen here, because holy hell, that's insane.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And I have 5 parts to this.
5 parts, But so
What I'm-
is the fifth part the insight? Because like that's my question, or is there a secret fifth part?
Yeah, I'm wondering that as well. The insight, I mean, it's similar to the Scarlet Eyes, and that's just like a biological thing basically. So I assume it's not part of the ability, but I don't know.
Yeah, this is like the different chains of Karapika, except it's all like inherent, which is weird and crazy
Yeah, it's
and
just
cool.
baked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we only get to see what was used here. Mute. This was mute.
Yes.
So yeah,
And we haven't even
And
seen it
pause-
yet. It's just described.
pause in my head would be a very similar concept, but maybe that just like freezes you in place or something.
That's what
which
I was
also
thinking.
sounds busted.
Yeah.
Special guest might be the most busted one of all.
Yeah.
In
That
theory.
could be crazy. Whatever
Tag
if
team.
that means, like yeah, tag team. If that
Yeah.
means like getting like a character or a previous guest of the show.
Yeah, I was about to say he's gonna summon Dan in like the next
Yeah.
page or something.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean,
Get in here,
that'd be
dude.
crazy.
Need your help, bro.
Yeah.
And oh, you know what? I just realized we have the Chekhov's gun of the big spirit bomb I threw at the beginning. I bet that's the first part. So
Okay.
keep that in the back of your head, guys. You cannot forget about that. Something's gonna happen later.
Yeah.
Who's
That'll be
working
day
on
after
the wiki for this? This manga. 'Cause we-
Insert name could probably handle that.
Yeah.
He's probably
Yeah.
good. That sounds like a project for him.
He's literally in this, so I think
But,
he could do it.
Yeah, we end off here though with Kaige rushing towards me as I'm kind of retreating
Yes.
for my life at this point because I would do the same.
And I want to point out a funny detail in the back. One of the signs that this was from like I think the first or second page that originally said Dylan #1 has now been scratched out with my name.
That
instead.
is pretty funny, actually.
That guy is just like a grifter, I guess.
Yeah.
Fake
Hell yeah.
supporter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All
this
right,
is really
so
cool
that's
stuff.
it for yes. This was a fantastic set of 2 pages here. Thank you again, Leo Dog, and yeah, we'll catch back up next time. We'll actually have 2 weeks of build up for the next one because we'll be off next week.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, the art's truly just amazing. I
it
love
genuinely is. It looks so nice.
I love it. It's really cool.
Love it, love it, love it.
And I love the colors for each of the parts or whatever for Showtime.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
it's very nice.
It's just awesome, man. All right, so with that, I think we're ready to talk about 99. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody, welcome to our coverage of Hunter x Hunter 1999, episodes 16 through 18. So we are picking back up where we left off. We're still in Trick Tower, almost called it Heaven's Arena. Not there yet,
Skipping ahead a little.
a little bit. And this first episode is called Rock, Scissors, Heart. So this is, unfortunately, we are going to see the downfall of our hero, Leorio, but
Yeah.
given that this is 99, they still give him a little something here that I was surprised by. So,
Yeah,
you know, we're picking back up after the big revelation that this is a woman. That's huge.
Yeah, very
Like,
huge
holy
revelation.
fuck! Wow.
I was really surprised to see that.
Yeah. So obviously we all know the first bet: am I a woman or am I a man? What do you guys think? What would your bet be?
Dude, I mean, I would have went
Tough.
man.
You know, Karapika made a good point though. You know, you can't really judge off of appearance specifically. You know,
It's true.
Yeah,
Karapika's
Karapika's one to talk.
Yeah,
very progressive
that's right.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the whole thing, we know it. If his bet is that she's a man, he can examine her body. So, you
Is it-
know, Leorio goes into Freako mode,
Freako
Yeah.
mode.
and of course he bets that she is a man. This is after a lot of debate, of course, because, you know, there's some genuine mind games at play, but Leorio doesn't really think about that in any capacity. He just
No.
kind of... he says it. It happens. The moment happens. he does his thing.
I will.
His hand. Go ahead.
As weird as this scene can be, right? I do like the little transition they did with like Tomba covering Gon's eyes and then transitioning into the monitor blinking out.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was a funny little transition.
I will say, in memory at least, I think the way that this is presented is a little more interesting than 2011 did it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not saying a whole lot.
No, it's like basically the same thing.
And his hand is like steaming afterwards,
Yeah.
which I thought was fascinating.
Too hot, dude.
It's too hot to handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, following this blunder of Leorio, obviously he loses the bet.
Yeah.
But we have a 99 original moment here, which kind of saves the day for Leorio here, which I was very impressed by. We have... Oh, what is her name, actually? I didn't get her name.
LaRue, right?
LaRute. That's it.
LaRute.
Yeah. So she's kind of like... She's going straight for Leorio's psyche here. She's just kind of... It's revealed that she's like she was some kind of doctor, I guess like a psychiatrist or psychologist or something, right?
Yeah, so this is actually a difference between the manga and this anime adaptation. Because in the manga, she was incarcerated for trafficking, essentially, like wildlife and violating gambling laws and stuff like that. Here, she was a psychologist in prison for intentionally driving her patients to suicide. So
it's such a weird difference because, like, you'd think that they would rather have the rare wildlife and the gambling stuff be the crime rather than suicide, coercion, and things like that. Like, it's just a weird change.
I think it's just to give this a doctor versus doctor kind of vibe.
Right.
Bingo.
Yeah. If this was Gon's opponent, though, I think keeping it the wildlife thing would have been pretty good.
Yeah, that would create a little tension with Gon getting pissed off at that or something. But
yeah, this works for Leorio. I don't really have any complaints because this makes his fight quote unquote in Trick Tower a lot more. It's not a joke anymore. It still is partly, but this adds a level of very serious, like a very serious flavor to it, which I really like.
Yeah, no, I think it kind of makes up for the again, like the blunder that he goes through as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes that in a vacuum seem more like an obvious, like, okay, like, haha, funny joke, like, then moving on, right? Instead of lingering on that moment. Which I feel like the 2011 adaptation definitely does to a fault. Yeah. Kind of just hovers on that for longer than it probably should have.
Yeah, I mean, in 2011's defense, though, it's the same way as it is in the manga. It's just, it's a joke. There's really not much substance in this fight. It happens. But, this adaptation gives it some substance. And it's even, his blunder is even worked into what LaRute is talking about. She's like, you let your friends down just to cop a feel, like, yada, yada. It's like, that's good stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
That's a good way to spin a lackluster piece of the source material into something bigger.
Yeah, he wants to be a doctor, but he's very immature at heart, and it's going to cost him everything potentially.
Yeah. So
it's cool that a change like this is actually showing that they put thought into the adaptation rather than changing it for whatever reasons. I feel like a lot of times things like that would have been changed for maturity reasons or something like that, but it's kind of changed for the opposite. That it's a more extreme crime with the suicide driving or whatever, and they did it to really just enhance the I guess interaction.
Yeah, and very effectively.
Yeah.
So that goes on, she's just tormenting him psychologically, and eventually Gon uses his fishing rod and just smacks him in the back of the head with it to snap him out of it. I love that.
Yep.
And of course, Leorio comes to the decision to bet on rock, paper, scissors. So we're back to canon material now. He does also consider for a moment
I was about to say.
betting whether or not Karapika is a man or a woman.
Well, before that even is like, maybe I bet if I'm a man or a woman.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, wait, no, that's too obvious.
Yeah, that's something in this in the like the art, I guess, art adaptation of Leorio. He looks so much more manly in this. Like
He does.
it's just
he
like
definitely does.
he's
He's,
not
like,
as
buffer.
lanky. Yeah, he's not as
Yeah.
lanky and hunched over, and he's like
Yeah,
is straight,
point.
stands up straight, and
Yeah, he's got
like
good
his
posture.
broad shoulders and everything.
He
it's
carries
really,
himself better.
Yeah, I don't know what they were kind of really going for necessarily, like in changing that, just to make him more, I guess, likable for like a shonen. I don't know, like, oh man, I love Leorio, he's so cool, that kind of thing. But they don't really change his personality that much to kind of follow that. So I don't really know what they were going for, but that's just something I noticed.
Well, I think they kind of. Well, I wouldn't say they exactly change his personality. I think they just kind of heighten it in certain moments.
You mean like to make him seem manlier, that kind of thing?
Yeah, or cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Because there's a lot of additional Leorio moments. Like we've talked plenty about just how much this adaptation seems to love Leorio.
yeah.
and that's
All right.
clearly evidenced here again.
Yeah, that's true.
So the rest of this, it's a straightforward play out of how it goes in the manga. They do the rock paper scissors. It's again the whole mind game, and they go back and forth talking about it between each other.
And we'll say they added like
And-
more mind game substance even to the rock paper scissors match though. Again, I like to reference Hunterpedia when we discuss these episodes, just
yeah.
to talk about these differences. And more specifically, they added even more with like how like Larute tells Lyra that like she'll be throwing paper next, and like there's like a whole like section there about like, oh well, is she lying? Is she not lying? Like, do I like go off of the assumption that she is lying? And kind of throws more into like, the mind games of it, right? So they added on to that is what I'm trying to say, which is cool.
Yeah, something about like the recent, I guess this comp of episodes. I feel like they added more that's like had a reason to be added rather than just like I feel like the first maybe 10 episodes had a lot of stuff that is just for some reason changed, and it didn't feel like there was any reason for it. But using this as an example, I feel like it's changed for at least a reason that they thought through rather than, I don't know, to make it different or whatever. Than it typically
There's
would
still a lot of that though too. We talked last time about the weird change with the I forgot his name, but the instructor.
be. Yeah,
that,
right.
Hisoka kills and
Yeah.
making him not an instructor for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything in this episode and the next episode too, I would say, are all pretty valuable changes that I can understand the thought process behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, go on.
So yeah, she says, I'm gonna throw paper, yada yada, and he throws rock, and she throws paper.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Should have
he
listened
loses.
to Gon.
Yep, and that's the end of that. It's that's a loss for Leorio, unfortunately. Our king
Yeah.
doesn't exactly graciously accept defeat, but he's taking it
He
in his own way.
took it on the chin. Yeah.
Yeah. He apologizes. Tony says I should have chosen a game of strip poker.
Yeah. I mean, it's valid, right?
I mean, yeah,
You should have.
probably a better chance of winning that
I
at
was
least.
about to say, when he said that, I'm like, yeah, he probably would be better at poker than just straight up gambling rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Leorio, I think would be good at poker. Honestly, like
I
seems
bet he
like
would be.
the kinda
I'd love
guy
to see
that-
Leorio gamble.
Yeah, a little gambling filler episode or something would be fun in York New City or
Hey, that could honestly happen.
Yeah,
Go hard.
it
We'll
could.
So now we have Killua's match coming up, and this is so I want to talk a little bit about how this episode is not very good looking.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
and as soon as because I knew that from the beginning, it's very clear this is definitely an episode they didn't put a lot of effort into.
Right.
And as soon as we got past the Leorio moment, I was just like, damn it, that means the Killua
Yeah.
stuff's gonna be in this episode, and it's
Yeah.
gonna look like dog shit.
And
And
guess
sure
what?
enough, it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very good.
It was shit. Actually, like not even really
Yeah.
cool at all.
No, it
Well-
had like no impact.
The
Yeah.
one good thing about it is that he's not like holding the heart in like a doggy bag like he was in 2011. Like
Yeah,
he's
that's
actually
true.
holding the heart and crushes it, which
Yeah.
is cool. It all happens in like 30 seconds, though.
Yep.
That's my major gripe with it.
Yep.
It's so fast, and yeah, we'll just get into it real quick. I mean, Jonas the Dissector walks up, yada yada. They hype him up. We don't need to spend all day on this. We know he actually sucks.
Murdered 100.
He is a big deal
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, very notorious. Everybody knows about him.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, yeah, whatever, and
massive grip, whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah, the big grip. that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Killua rips his heart out, and that's it. And it's just not as good as the manga or the 2011 adaptation at all.
Doesn't look like he ripped his heart out, because like there was I don't know. It's just he kind of just like walks past him, and then like
it's
he's
not
bleeding.
it's not well animated or anything. It's not flashy or whatever. It's not even surprising. It's just like
it just doesn't have any impact.
My thing is, like, I know it's supposed to happen fast. Like, that's how it's like that scene is depicted across all adaptations. But like when I say like it happens so incredibly fast, I mean it in that like they don't really let you sit on like that moment and like having Killua have like that killer moment of his for the first time, right?
Yeah.
They just kind of like yep, that happened, moving on. And it's like especially thinking back to 2011, they really hovered on like the heavy breathing for Jonas and Killua just like having like the heart in his hand and just letting like the viewer kind of sit on what happened there for like a good chunk of time. And that just didn't happen here, and I feel like it really it really affected the enjoyment of this scene for me.
I actually just looked it up, the scene, real quick. I just wanted to like see it, and it really is just like I don't. He's the whole squishing of the heart is cool, and he does look pretty like scary, like the face they draw for Killua. Looks pretty scary, but honestly, it looks a little too scary for Killua.
It's very like hyper detailed.
Yeah, it's a little
zooms
too
in
much
for a second.
But
the heart crush is welcome, though. It's nice to see that animated.
Yeah.
But it's so lackluster. Like I always think when I think about this scene in 2011, the thing I always recall the most, honestly, is when Jonas gets his heart ripped out, and then he's just like. He's looking down. He's like, what the hell? My heart's gone. Give it back. He's like reaching. Like, I need that to live. I need that.
Yeah.
And then he just drops dead. But here, he still says, like, I need that. That's mine or something. But that's it. And then he just drops dead. There's like no... It's not elongated. It doesn't really let you sit on it much.
I mean, that's kind of like just the 99 anime problem in general, where it's just like... It's just not as good. It's... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether it has to do with the time or the way they wanted to show it or whatever, or their budget or who knows, but just not as good.
The pacing
sometimes
is just off.
The pacing is all over the place. I do think there are some things that this series does better, and I have a lot of good things to say about the next episode. Even though it's very faithful, I still think it was a good episode, but we'll talk about that later. So ending off this episode, there's not really much else to say. There's a cool moment where he does the finger claw thing, and that actually looked really good. I like that a lot.
The sound effects gave me
wiggle
chills.
And that was
like
sick.
actual bones cracking. Like ugh.
Yeah, I loved that, because in 2011 it's always just like bam, it's just like instant.
Yeah.
But here you get to see like a cool like build up with it. I thought that was really neat. So the gang lost 50 hours because of Leorio, so now they have to sit in a room for 50 hours, and that's where we end off. They go into that room, then we're done. So, bad looking episode, sadly, but the content was surprisingly good. I was happily surprised about the Leorio changes, even though the moment still happened. They kind of spinned it into something else, which I thought was neat.
Yeah, that's appreciated.
Yeah, like most things, it's enjoyable in this version. It's just not great or anything like crazy good.
There's things that could have been better for sure, but
something I've noticed though is there are some huge fans of this adaptation. Like this is like their favorite, version of it. I don't know whether it's just like they saw it first or something or. But I've noticed that, like, just reading about it, I see stuff, like, even in the comments, because I was watching the YouTube version, whatever was uploaded on there, and like the comments are like, oh my god, you know, this is always gonna be my favorite, that kind of thing. So it just, I don't know, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why, but not like. So okay, from what I understand, this series pops off for York New.
Yeah,
That's what I've always heard.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So I'm really excited to get to that. But even this, I think it's pretty solid. It's really interesting as an adaptation.
It's nothing bad.
But you know, overall, I probably do like 2011 more. But I wish I could kind of pick and choose different things from each and combine it into like a perfect adaptation.
Yeah, at the
like,
very least.
You know, even from the last episode, even though the moment looked like shit, at least the heart was actually in his hand. Like 2011 has the weird bag thing, and
well, that's great, that's like an example of a change where it's just you know, maturity. That's pretty much why. Like that's like one of those examples where it's just they just change it because they need to for maturity reasons or whatever. But
any thoughts from you, Dylan, on this episode?
No, you guys have kind of said everything that was on my mind from it. Pretty kind of typical episode for me overall. I was pleasantly surprised with the Leorio stuff as well. Otherwise, pretty straightforward. A little disappointed with the Killua moment, but like it is what it is. Could have been worse, I suppose. All things considered. And yeah, it just wasn't the best looking episode either from what we've seen so far. But it was passable. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah. Okay, well, then that brings us into episode 17 here. Does anybody have the title on hand?
Yes. Episode 17, which is 3 people, 5 people, last choice.
Fair enough. And so right off the bat, just from the opening shot alone, I could tell, okay, so this is a good-looking episode. And that remains true. I'm very surprised that they chose this content to give like really nice animation to, but I'll take it. It was very pleasing. I loved looking at this episode.
Yeah, it was nice.
So I was also very interested about how this opens up, because in 2011 they spend almost half an episode in the chill out room, and here it's like immediate. It's like a minute.
Yeah, pretty much just the very beginning of the episode. That's it.
Yeah.
I
don't think that's a bad thing. But
I like the vibe of the 2011 waiting around and stuff. It's fun. Like it
is.
They show some like, you know, stuff. That's something, you know, that it's weird because I feel like that would be something that they would like to add to an adaptation like this, where they're taking more liberty and, you know, changing things and adding stuff. But yeah, maybe it probably just had to do with pacing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you'd think this would be a prime time to get some filler moments, but maybe they just figured it'd be boring. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Even with them kind of like montaging through it, though, I still like the vibe of that little opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still fine.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still some really cute moments in there.
Yeah.
Like going fishing in a fish bowl.
Yeah.
Funny.
Karapika like throwing the controller up, losing a video game.
Oh yeah. So carrying on, after they're out of that room for 50 hours, they're just kind of going through the rest of the tower. Nothing. It's just a montage. They're like Indiana Jones running and crawling under lasers.
Yeah, that stuff was new for sure. And I enjoyed that though. Yeah, another fun little montage for the episode. Just funny vibes, you know.
Yeah.
It was just fun to watch.
Anything,
and you know, oh god.
I was just gonna say anything like that is I'm welcome to, you know, have additions like that. It's just fun.
Yeah, showing Tompa voting no every single time too. Like.
Yep. And Leorio gets pissed off. They kind of come to a head for a second, but Gon breaks up the fight because he's the GOAT.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that leads into after the montage though, where it's like they finally get to the last door, right? You know.
Yes. So now we are at the door. So yeah, I wasn't talking about the big fight. They have a little fight.
The little fight.
The final door. Yeah. So we're at the final door. You know it, you love it. It's either 3 people pass and it's like a 3-minute walk or something, and if or you can have all people pass and it's, what was it, like 20 hours or
45 hours.
Holy shit. Well,
I love shit like that where it's just like it's impossible, but like it's there.
Yeah, you gotta make the choice.
45.
Yeah, so
that is insane.
45 hours and everyone can go through, or 3 minutes. 3 people can go through. 2 people have to be handcuffed to the wall while that path is chosen.
Yeah. So, a classic trick tower psychological debate occurs where primarily it's just between Leorio and Tompa, but the other people do weigh in. I mean, they pretty clearly give their thoughts. Killua wants to go through the faster one. Gon wants to go through the slower one, and so does Kurapika. And Leorio wants to go through the short one, and Tompa is kind of just like, I mean, I'm dead either way, really, or I'm done here either way, so it doesn't really matter much.
But I do, on that note, they do kind of add something with Tompa that I really liked for this conflict, in that they kind of I think this is an addition to the anime specifically, though, where basically Tompa's like attempting to trick the others with like the choice that he's saying he'll give. And so like the idea is like in this scene he's basically offering himself up to be handcuffed to the wall, like, okay, like I my journey ends here either way, so I'm gonna handcuff myself to the wall. You guys fight between who else is gonna get cuffed to this wall, right? But he pretends to actually cuff the locks on to lock the handcuffs on him, and so it's eventually revealed through Kurapika's observation that that was all an elaborate trick from Tompa, and he was actually gonna just like attack them whenever they were all tired, because he wasn't actually cuffing himself to the wall, which I thought was really cool. I thought that made Tompa a little bit more interesting in this version of the conflict.
Yeah, it's sneaky. It's honestly a plan I wouldn't really expect from him. It's a little too smart for him, but
he's not the rookie
obviously
crusher
it
for
doesn't
nothing.
work. He definitely him saying that is a possibility is definitely underestimating how close these 4 have got. Well, 3. I mean, Kilo's just kind of there right now. But,
Right.
But maybe, honestly, you could argue maybe he sees that, and he sees that Killua would be the one to kind of instigate here.
If you remember, there was a line whenever him and Leorio were like having that conflict, where he was like, "Yeah, like you want to go through, and I know like you, Kurapika, and Gon have all been together from the start, but not Killua. So you're gonna put Killua against the wall? Is that gonna go well for you? Like after everything with Jonas, right? Like he's kind of trying to sow the conflict of that, which is interesting,
right?" Yeah, he's trying to break them apart. Of course, it doesn't really work out. And Kurapika sees through what Tompa's trying here, and he breaks the cuffs off. And now we get insanely good animation. I was like jaw on the floor, like, what the hell are we doing for this?
For Tompa.
That was stunning. So we have this awesome moment. He breaks the chains off. He grabs the axe on the wall, and he's just fucking going at it. Like, it looks so cool. It's so smooth. The axe like swings back and breaks the ground. It's so seamless. It looks amazing. I was just stunned at how good this moment looks.
I think they're Tompa fans, honestly.
Yeah, we couldn't have this animation for Jonas and Killua, but we get it for Tompa Leorio.
Tompa and Leorio right there. That's the key word,
right.
I think.
You're,
just love Leorio.
You're exactly right. Of course.
So, yeah, we have this awesome choreographed, animated, well-shot fight between Leorio and Tompa. Knife versus axe. All the while, Gon is cooking up an idea while he sees this fight happening. And, eventually we get to the 2 of them. They're probably about to kill each other, but then Gon steps in, breaks up the fight. Mm-hmm. He's like, I have an idea. Let me cook.
Let me cook.
And he pitches his idea, which this was... I like this. Well, okay, so if you guys remember, in 2011, this scene is left ambiguous for a bit. They don't show which path they chose.
Right.
And they show 3 people exiting the door first. And then you're thinking, oh, okay, I guess they chose that one. But then the 2 others walk a little bit after them. and then they explain it after they show that. But here we actually just see chronologically everything happen as is.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one I like more. I think they're both good approaches. It's kind of just pick and choose whichever one you like more.
I agree.
Yeah, personal preference for sure. I don't
Yeah.
really think that was that big of a deal either way.
No. So, Gon proposes the idea of breaking the wall. Picking the one that, picking the one where all five pass.
Kaige can't
And
count
then,
them, guys.
no, I can't. And then busting through the wall with the axes and hammers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that. And it's also very well animated, I will say. Them swinging that axe into the wall. That's all very smooth, very detailed facial expressions on the characters as they're swinging.
Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah.
The proctor's freaking out, like, are they allowed to do that? Like,
Yeah. Well, more specifically, the assistants of the
Right.
proctor are freaking out, and
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah.
They're
He
like,
respects
that's
it.
smart.
goes like, yeah, like, hey, I mean, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have thought of it, he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then they're freaking out because they don't think they have enough time, but then Gon puts together another little trick where I honestly don't really know what he did, but he put together some kind of like cart out of
So it was
weapons.
Killua's
The
some
skateboard.
weapons, the skateboard, and he was using his fishing rod, I think, as like a steering wheel almost, with like the string like wrapped around everything.
Okay.
I think that's what it was. That's what I could make out from it, anyways. Because again, that whole
Right.
sequence was a little bit dark in coloring as
Yeah,
well.
no kidding. Holy hell. I
No,
couldn't see shit.
Which, granted, I mean, the Gon just straight up says, like, I mean, or like somebody in that scene says, like, it's way too dark in here to see what's going on. It's like, felt kind of meta
Yeah.
almost.
At least they're self-aware.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they make it. They slide down the ramp and they make it just in time.
Woo!
Literally, like the clock ends right when they make it in there.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
pretty awesome. Also, oh yeah, and while they're sliding, there's another animation moment where you see like the fat on Tonpa and Leoria's skin kind of like wobble. It looked amazing. It was
Yeah.
so funny.
Another like
Uh,
little addition is like how Hisoka's like thinking, oh, Gon may not be that,
He was
as good as
doubting
I
him.
thought he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I thought that was, I guess, kind of cool. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
It shows that he's thinking about
Yeah.
him, which is cool.
right. I think in the 2011, he's literally just doing his thing where he sits.
Yeah, he's just sitting there.
Yeah, whatever. So
But he was thinking to himself towards the beginning, like, perhaps I'm overestimating him, time's running out. And then, like, as he's, like, sliding down, like, on, like, the makeshift cart or whatever, like, there's a nice little shot to Hisoka where he, like, kind of realizes, like, oh, he's on his way. Like,
Yeah.
then it cuts to that scene.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah.
How he like just knew that he was coming. I loved that.
yeah.
And so now we get to the end of, or what should be the end of Lipo's exam here, and then immediately I'm already like, okay,
Yeah,
well something's
alarm bells
going on.
going off, yeah.
Yeah, because they're getting on an airship
Yeah.
rather than a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, at first I was just like, I mean, weird change, but okay, go off. And then Lipo says the line of like, or somebody asked, or no, they're like waving goodbye to him. And he says, it might be too early to say goodbye.
Yeah, like, whoa,
I'm
what
like,
does
oh.
that mean?
Okay, Trick Tower 2 coming up.
Trick Tower 2.
Finally. And we end on that for now. So that left me pretty confused. I waited a day to watch the episode after that. And I watched the preview, and I mean, yeah, obviously this is all filler. So
Yeah.
I was very curious about what this was going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, my only thoughts really is that this was a very good looking episode.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a whole lot to say. I mean, it was faithful. There's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of like differences, just minor stuff for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the differences honestly either enhanced it or just kind of were a different take on it, which it wasn't good or bad. So I thought it was a good episode. So
Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was weird seeing the Tompa conflict being like really well animated, especially. That just like threw me for a loop, but it was very much appreciated. It was a good looking episode, and it was entertaining, and that's as much as you can ask for sometimes, right?
Right.
Yeah. Which now brings us to the final episode of this episode, which is episode 18.
This is going to be the
title.
weirdest episode to discuss thus far in the series.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm excited, honestly.
Do you have the title on hand for this one, Dylan?
Yes, this is episode 18, Treasure Memory Cramped Hotel Room.
Yeah, so with a title like that, I think we're all left scratching our heads on what the hell this will be about.
Yeah, this is not the next page. this is something else, obviously.
Something else. So the airship approaches this island that's shaped like a crescent moon, notably, and an old couple. I think they're a couple.
Yeah,
Right?
I think
Yes,
they are. Yeah,
pretty sure.
Banner and
Okay.
Genner.
Yeah,
Yes.
Banner and Ginner.
That's correct. They see the airship coming, and they greet them whenever they land, and they're saying that they're hosts. Everybody's thinking like, are these like proctors? They're not, I guess.
It's okay.
Allegedly, I don't know what's going on.
As
Still,
Killua explains, like I don't feel an excitement from these two. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
So eventually they just kind of whatever talking, and then they come to the realization that they have to stay at this hotel, and to stay here you need to pay for it. It's not like you can
Wow.
just stay here, which is I think that's real messed up. If you ask me.
That's quite the test.
Yeah, insane. What the hell?
Yeah, that wow.
It's might be the hardest challenge they've faced yet.
So to pay for it, since none of these people have money, they have to go like diving around. There's a bunch of sunken ships around the island. They have to go dive for treasure and sell it to them to stay. And depending on like the quality of the treasure, they get a better room. But that seems to be kind of bullshit because all the rooms look exactly the same to me. I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys.
Actually, like, what's the difference?
I will say the hotel is kind of sick, honestly.
It's a cool
And the-
design.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the whatever room that there's like a shot where I think it was of the couple in like an office or something, and you know it's the all glass windows around in the mountain. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's some cool like background scenery here in this episode.
Yeah.
I have to admit.
Yeah, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
water. The water looked really good. Like I thought. I was impressed. It was a nice little blue ocean vibe.
Yeah. It's
we
a
don't
cool
get really-
location for sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel out of place.
No.
So yeah, all the participants that passed the trick tower are now just looking for treasure to sell. There's some shenanigans. There's not a whole lot. There's one moment where Kroppik confirms that England exists in the Hunter.
Yeah, the
Hunter.
queen.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that scepter's from the Queen of England. Like what?
I was blown away because he first says something, relating to, I think that was like Hunter lore. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. We
Yeah.
might get some like lore about the world. And then he just says England, like the Queen of England. Like, okay, well, this is just a bunch of random shit then. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then immediately after
filler
that,
shit.
he's like, on the other hand, that could also just be like an antique bedpost or like something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
man.
So
it was really
that's
weird.
fascinating.
Yeah, because I like the concept. Like once he started saying some history, I'm like, oh, that's cool. This is like some history because I love history and I love lore. So, but just a bunch of shit. So
It's just a bunch of nonsense.
But
Yeah.
This is a fun little sequence though, of just like everybody hunting for treasure.
yeah,
Yeah,
Tompa,
it's fun.
It was a fun little interaction with Tompa and Killua and Gon.
Also
Yeah.
notable, the first of many times we see Hanzo in his underwear this episode.
Oh my god, dude,
Dude, they love Hanzo's ass.
Dude,
I love that shot. I almost was like, I'm gonna print this image out and put it on camera because I was like, what the fuck is this?
Hanzo's
When he
cheeks
had
are
the-
shown so much this episode, guys.
Yeah.
It's actually insane. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I was like,
They're big Hanzo fans.
Yeah, clearly, maybe a
Yeah.
little too big.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a constant thematic resonance of this episode is Hanzo's ass.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's
the
cool.
big takeaway.
I like Hanzo. You know, it's cool seeing more of him. I just
I
don't
like
need to
Hanzo.
see.
Yeah.
I don't need to see all that. Yeah. He does have a nice ass.
I got to admit, it's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah. Maybe I should print that
yeah.
picture out.
You know, let me get it framed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So,
Anyways,
anyways, Kurapika finds a thing that he recognizes, and he'll talk about it later, but he just kind of picks it up for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have everybody coming up and selling their treasure, getting their rooms assigned. It's nothing too notable to talk about here. Killua finds some crazy shit, I guess. Actually, no, he doesn't. He thinks he found some crazy shit, and they're like, actually, this is nothing. And then Leorio, this was actually really funny. He comes up with a big treasure chest, and he's like, dude, I'm rich. I'm dropping out of the exam. I don't even need this shit anymore.
that was a
he
very
opens it up.
L'Oreal thing.
It was.
Yeah.
And he opens it up, and it's just like some cannonballs. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved that a lot.
Super
Yeah,
funny
it was.
episode overall.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not even
is,
done
yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Kurapika comes up and explains to them what he has, because he knows everything here, apparently. This is, even though this is a Kurta thing, even before this, he's like, yeah, it's the Queen England scepter. This is whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Kurapika's just a
listing off
scholar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He
whoa.
knows
Scholarly.
everything. So he explains that this is a pendant, golden
A Kurta
pendant of
pendant.
the Kurta clan.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I'll believe it.
I have to believe it, I guess, if he's saying it. So he tells him it's not really worth all that much, and he doesn't. I mean, Kurapika doesn't even want to exchange it anyways, but he kind of just wants to know, like, you know, who that ship belonged to. Like, do you remember where it came from? He doesn't know, and he gives him the thing back. And how does he even get a room? I guess he goes and finds other treasure after that.
I
don't know.
something like.
Or no. He gives him the key actually just for finding it.
Oh, that's what it. Pity key.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He does do that.
Yeah, because he is later on in a private conversation, he'll say that he's impressed that he found that. Which, I mean, if you watch the scene where he found it, it really wasn't that extravagant. He just kind of picked it up off the ground. But I mean,
Well, wasn't it like? Yeah. No, you're right.
no, it was just kind of there. So then we have a cool little scene with Killua, or Gon teaching Killua how to fish, which I loved,
Yeah.
and
That was a cute scene.
learning that Killua is like grossed out by little bugs and fish and
Yeah.
stuff.
That's not even like
yeah.
I believe that out of Killua. So like,
Yeah.
I agree.
It adds up.
It's one of those fun little like personality things you would find in like in a character profile book or something that they sold, like just things like that, which is I like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that is in a character book, because do you
It
guys
might
know
be.
in the 2011 anime in the
yes.
the Chimera Ant opening where he picks up like the
Yeah.
He's very grossed out by
Yeah.
it. Like,
that might be like a little thing in a
Yeah.
guidebook or something.
I can look it up.
Yeah, I'm
would love
curious.
to know. Yeah.
So then we see Kurapika in the shower.
Yeah, they lingered
cool.
on that for a little while. That was.
Might want to print that one out too.
Yeah, I will.
Is it getting a nice collection from this
Yeah,
episode?
yeah, oh yeah.
More to
But
come.
this leads into an entire like sequence of the episode though, where like we see a bunch of room switching going on.
Yeah.
Super fun stuff.
Dan, did you have something to say?
No, I was just commenting on something. It's not important.
Okay.
Something relating to a sentence.
Okay. So, yeah, we have a bunch of people unhappy with their rooms. Hanzo specifically, I guess, has like this really hot room that like melts his skin, basically.
He wanted a better room than what he had, and Leorio's just like, hey, I'll switch with you. No worries. He's like, okay.
Oh,
cool,
that's
so-
right. That's right.
It's like, yeah, nice single room, like nice view, everything you could ask for. And so now Leorio's rooming with Kurapika, and that leads to a whole like dialogue between them, right? Like something's up with Kurapika. And then we cut to Hanzo in his underwear again, like melting from the heat in that room.
It's so funny. And like, They like in writing, they definitely just gave him a hot room so they could keep having him in his
Oh
underwear.
yeah. Oh yeah. I did find some Killua. I googled Killua, character profile. Didn't really find anything, and Killua hating bugs, and I got some interesting lines like Killua Snake Awakens is some kind of like reaction video. This guy like with a shocked face, and I don't know what the Killua Snake
What?
Awakens. I don't really know. That's the title of the video. Who does Killua kiss? How? Let's see. Boys will be bugs. It's like a picture of Gon and Killua.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
it's a TikTok that says #Killua. I just drank a bug. Someone end my suffering. I don't really. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's canon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's canon.
Killua Snake Awakens. That's
So-
cool.
And here's the best one. How bad did the Chimera Ant arc ruin Hunter x Hunter for you?
Oh
For some
my
people, it
God.
makes the show unwatchable. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good opinion. So
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that lesson.
Yeah. Good.
Lessons learned in this episode here.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So back to the show, we have the continuation of the room changing shenanigans, where Tompa is being upset about being in a room with Illumi or Gitarok or whatever.
Mhm.
It's Illumi. We know it's Illumi.
Who? Huh?
Yeah, we don't. Who?
That is?
Spoiler?
Who the fuck?
Gotta be fucking kidding me.
So Tompa happens to come out in the hallway right when the monkey guy's looking to get his room switched because his monkey's gonna like die.
Yeah, he'd die of stress or something.
Yeah.
I will say
So-
before this too, we see I can't remember these dudes' names at all, but they're like having like a
Oh.
squatting competition or something. Like,
Yeah,
they're
that
just,
was cool. I forget their names too. The one of them is the one that Kilo kills later.
yeah, poor guy.
Yeah. So
Anyways.
Tompa switches the room, and now he's with the snake charmer guy, which I think I actually like being able to see him before he just died in a cave.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. Where it's like,
Yeah.
at least it's something.
Personality. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tompa's like, hell no. And then he goes out and sees Ponzu is trying to change her room as well because she'll suffocate if she's in there for another minute. Tompa's like, let's go.
Yeah.
And trades with her.
Don't mind your roommate being
And-
a guy, then yeah, I'll switch with you.
Yeah.
And they do so.
Oh, you know what? I also just realized an extra layer to that. That's funny because her and the snake charmer are the ones trapped in the cave
Right.
later.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
It's a
yep,
little
yep.
foreshadow. I didn't even piece that together till now.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's funny. And then Tompa enters his new room, and guess who, guys? I think we all saw this one coming. It's Hisoka.
I knew this would be like the joke payoff to Tompa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
And
faints, and
yeah.
I guess he'll just settle on that one.
Yeah.
It can't get
Hisoka will
much
have
worse
some
than
fun
that.
tonight.
He sure will. So then we get to see Gon and Kilo cooking their fish, which is fun. It's very nice
Yeah.
lighting in that
Yeah.
scene.
This show or this episode has some good lighting in general.
Yeah.
It does actually. This is the best lighting I think the show has had so far.
Yeah.
Very varied, which is what I like about it especially. Like they don't hover on specific like lighting or like color tone for too long throughout the
Yeah,
episode.
that's true.
They change it up
Yeah.
a lot.
So they're cooking the fish. Gon hands one to Killua, and he's freaked out by the fact that it still has eyes.
It does look
hey
quite
man,
creepy.
I get that. I don't think I'd want to eat a fish that still has its eye in
No,
personally.
yeah, take that out, man. Then give it
Yeah,
to
just
me.
take it out, and I'll eat it then. But
Yeah. Yeah. Did I tell you guys about how I had the fish sperm in Japan?
yes, you did.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
you
was
didn't tell
good
me,
stuff.
but I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
Okay.
That was good. That was good.
Was it actually good?
So the thing is, it tasted good, but the texture was so disgusting that I could not stomach like another.
Was it
Mouthful.
What was the texture?
It was slimy and
Ugh.
like not chewy it was just it was just like slimy,
Just-
and it looks
ugh.
like intestines. Like when I looked at it, I was like, oh, what is this? Because it was at the omakase place, and the guy just like he said every sushi in whatever the Japanese name for it is, and we obviously didn't know what fish sperm was in Japanese, and so I asked him. I said, what is this? And he just points to his groin and he says, "Male inside," and I'm like, okay. Goonk.
Oh,
And I
right.
slurped it down and
Hell yeah.
yeah, it was not good,
Not good.
Well,
but no
Maybe
fish
if you
eyes.
could,
I didn't no fish eyes. So
yeah, no
that's
fish
something.
eyes.
Yeah,
would you eat a fisheye?
I would eat it. I would try. Yeah, I'd try anything. Like if the guy gave me a fish eye, I would have popped it in my mouth. But I don't know if they.
yeah.
I don't know if they serve. I don't. They serve fish
Just
eye.
the eye.
Just
I don't know.
fish
Fish eye sushi. I don't know.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Fish eyeballs. Yeah.
So yeah, Kilo's freaked out by that, and that's pretty much the whole scene. It's cute though.
Yeah,
I
it's
liked
cute.
it. And then moving on to a more serious moment between Kurapika and Leorio. where
Love this
they're-
scene.
Yes, this is very good actually. Where Leorio finds Kurapika in the boat that he found the medallion or whatever, the
The
emblem.
pendant.
That's the one. And he kind of just says, like, Leorio comes in and he's like, "Oh, if I'm intruding, I'll step out. I came here because I was worried about you," that kind of thing. And Kurapika says like, "No, it's all right. Do you have a lighter on you?" And it's a very simple exchange, but it's really nice. And Leorio's just like, "Will matches work?" He says, "Yeah." And throws in the matches, and he just burns this shit down.
Burns the ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And
It's just yeah.
we get a nice explanation about like the scarlet eyes after this too.
Yeah,
the
about-
significance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that speaking of lighting again, that was a nice lighted
was.
lit scene.
But I love the way the scene was directed though. Like the explanation about the scarlet eyes, talking about how the Kurta clan was massacred by the troop, and like the transition from like the fire on the ship right into Kurapika. Kind of
Yeah,
like
it's cool.
while like the Kurta clan massacre specifically was being talked about, I thought was really telling.
There's a cool the sky's red, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yes. Awesome.
And this is one of those moments where I thought about like Leorio looking more like a man. Like he standing in the background, he's like standing like that.
He's stoic. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks stoic.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Very
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was awesome. There's a cool line. Kurapika says, "Even now I can hear that abyss of eyes calling to me."
Yep.
They
Oh
want
my
revenge.
gosh.
Good quote.
So cool. I love that.
Yeah.
This is where it's also revealed that this ship was a Kurta clan ship, probably. That
Yeah, they're
that
trying to
sunk
escape.
while trying to escape.
Yeah, that's
from the Phantom
interesting.
Troop.
That's in canon I find that hard to believe that
Right.
would happen.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like whatever.
Yeah, he was like, I take consolation in the fact that like it doesn't look like it was like a conflict with the troop itself. Why the ship sunk? It's probably just like an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also a very early hint because we don't learn until much later that Kurapika wasn't there. And this is actually a pretty direct confirmation that, yeah, he wasn't there when the massacre happened. It's not like he survived. He just wasn't there straight up, and that's how he survived. That's not something we learn in the manga or 2011 for a very long time, so it's cool to get a little hint of it here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so, the two of them talk, and Leorio, just being a bro, he tells them to rest in peace and whatnot. It's a really sweet scene.
There's a really nice shot of Kurapika like throwing the pendant like into the ocean too.
Yeah.
Promises he'll catch the troop with his own hands. Things like that. So
Wonder if he does.
Super cool. I love that moment. That was very nice between the two of them. It's just cool to get these, the four main characters bonding in like their own way, and it's the two. I wish there was more Killua bonding with them, but I wish that in the main series too. It's just not something we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Just kind of those two going and Killua on their own. But yeah. So then we get the old couple in their office, like Dan was just talking about. It looks good.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like kind of being vague about some plan, some grander plan going on here, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Very mysterious.
And then we just get to see Hanzo's ass.
yeah, again. Thanks, guys.
But that's not the biggest ass moment. We'll get to that. And then you see Guitar Rocker or Elamise being a freak with the monkey guy. He's such a freak. Holy hell. Then Ponzu in the bath.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I almost printed that one out too. there are a lot of scenes printed out in this one.
Yeah, the snake is very infatuated with Ponzu.
Yeah, the snake is just hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the implication is supposed to be there. Maybe that like the snake charmer guy can see through the snake is maybe what I got out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not really
either.
sure what they were going for there, but that happens.
Tompa traumatized by Hisoka still.
Yep, of course. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Leorio in the shower.
Yeah, woo!
And Kurapika like feels a shiver when he turns off the water. He had a chill run up his spine, he says. And then Leorio steps out. And, you know, he's his balls and his other thing are out.
Butt ass naked. That's what he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's I guess Kurapika's upset about that. So he beats him up.
Beats the shit out of him after his. It's funny because like he just took off that like bandage in the shower.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Nice and good now. Now he's beat the fuck up again, and then. And then this transitions like everybody's asleep, and there's this weird ass shot of Hanzo in the top left, cheeks on full display.
Dude, it's insane.
It is.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
So any Hanzo ass fans, there you go.
Yeah.
You got content for days.
Everyone else is like cuddling or nice and tucked in, and it's just like kind of like supposed to be like a cute thing, and then just Hanzo cheeks in the top left. I don't. What were they on, dude?
Hanzo's ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, then the old couple they're taking off in the airship. Gon notices. I guess they all end up noticing because all the people run outside and they're like, "What the hell?"
Everyone in their underwear.
Most of them, yeah.
But yeah, most of them.
But especially Hanzo.
Especially Hanzo. Again, he was like front and center in that frame
He
too.
sure was.
There was an agenda there. I'm just saying.
There absolutely was.
Yeah.
So that's the episode. That's where we leave off.
Yeah, the
How are they gonna
couple's
get out of
What will
flying away.
happen?
Oh yeah, we didn't explain the couple was on the airship flying away.
Oh yeah. Sorry, the airship.
So,
The airship was on the couple. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
now they're stranded
what
there,
will happen
supposedly.
next?
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
completely filler. None of this happened in the manga. Obviously, I don't know what's gonna happen next. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. It's a short little filler arc coming up. Looks like.
I guess like a continuation of phase 3,
Yeah.
phase 2. I mean,
Yeah, we don't really know what this is still, which is
or
Yeah.
no, phase 3. But
interesting.
And this is
yeah.
the kind of thing what's fun about this show is there's stuff that is brand new to all three of us. So it's just we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. I will say, Dylan, my prediction of 30 episodes is looking a lot more correct now that we have this filler arc coming up. But
No.
we'll see. We'll see.
No. I can agree to that. I didn't expect filler in this. So I thought it'd be like filler relating to the next phase specifically, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
either of us expected just brand new filler in between phases. That's not something I really had on my radar. So that kind of changes things.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. So yeah, pretty
It
good
was-
episode. I thought it was
fun.
fun. Not a whole lot to say about it at this point because I don't know where it's going. And I mean, I like the setup, I suppose. I guess it's gonna like a survival game kind of thing. Like they're gonna have to just survive on this island for a set amount of time.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
I really enjoyed this, and I'm curious about what this leads into, especially. This is the first basically full on filler episode since the like episode 2 or 3, or the one with Leorio and Gon.
That was 2.
That was 2. Yeah. First one since then, and I really
and also
enjoyed
the
that
first
episode,
filler
so.
arc.
Yes.
Seemingly.
Well,
Yeah.
arc, quote unquote. It's like a sub arc, right? You know,
Yeah,
it's all
it's-
Hunter
yeah,
exams
weird.
still, but
Yeah.
Mini arc.
yeah.
Yeah. Curious to see where it goes. These were pretty solid episodes. I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
No super big complaints. The first episode we watched, episode 16, little underwhelming animation wise, but
Yeah.
you know, it is what it
Serviceable
is.
still, yeah.
Right.
And then the other 2 were good. This one surprised me. Again, just kind of anime original stuff, but it was really fun, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. That's what filler is. You know, it's meant to be fun. I almost can't even think of a time I've ever liked like the serious filler like they've a show would put in. Like they it just ends up being like shit. So the fun, the good stuff is usually just the fun, character enhancing interaction kind of filler, which is what this was. So it's obviously easier to write than a serious toned story or whatever, but
Right.
so that's nice.
Yeah, I hope it continues to be that way. I want to see like some unique character interactions here with these participants.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's a good layup for that, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else anybody wants to say about these 3 episodes?
Not really pertaining to these 3 episodes, but looking at Hunterpedia, it actually does spoil the the amount of episodes within Hunter exams specifically. So I now have that knowledge, and you don't, Kaige.
Oh,
Wow. Oh my god, just like that.
just reveal it. Just reveal it. What is it?
You want me to reveal it? You want me to
If one of us knows, we might as well both know.
This might shock you. 36.
What the hell?
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
What?
Interesting, right?
Half of the show is the
Yeah.
Hunter exam.
Interesting.
Holy shit.
That is pretty
36? What is
30.
going to happen?
According
This
to
might be a
Hunterpedia.
long ass filler.
I'm curious about it. There might be more.
Damn,
filler.
and there's still going to be Heaven's Arena, Zoldyck Family, and York New in 62 episodes, with half of it being
Well,
Hunter exam.
I think it looks like the Zoldyck stuff is part of the
Oh.
Hunter exam arc.
Okay,
So
that makes
looks
more
like
sense now.
That's like the last 4-5 episodes.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
Then I
honestly,
almost
you
got it exactly
I was
right.
just gonna say that.
Yeah, you got it pretty much exactly
Yeah.
right then.
Wow.
Still, it's a lot though.
That
It's
is a
of
lot.
time. But yeah,
Actually, yeah, I think Zoldyck family arc starts exactly on 31. So,
that's crazy.
wow.
Wow.
You,
I
Good
nailed
job.
it.
you nailed it. I think you
Damn.
nailed it.
God. Damn.
Let's go. Oh, that's also funny because this is our 36th episode of the podcast.
Whoa.
36 episodes that we were.
Whoa.
What a reveal.
Coincidence.
And it turns out it's also weird. You're also 36 years old, Kaige.
Yeah,
right.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just finally turned 36 today. So
Yeah.
that's
Little Kaige lore there.
kind of crazy.
Cage's birthday is
Very
April 26th. He was born 1995.
95. Yep.
That's actually. Okay. I was thinking 85, but that's
85.
Yeah, 95. I'm 36. I went through like a wormhole at some point in my life, so
Yeah.
my aging's a little
it's kind of
messed
fucked
up,
up.
but yeah, that's all right. You learn to live with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about what you guys had to say about these episodes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, now it's time to read what you guys have to say about Hunter x Hunter 99, episodes 16 through 18. Just a usual reminder, if you want to get in on the discussion week to week for any given topic, make sure you check out the YouTube community, or keep an eye out for the YouTube community posts on our YouTube channel, or you can keep an eye out for call-out posts on Twitter and Bluesky accounts. And of course, if you are an audio-only listener, you can always email us your thoughts at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. On that note, sounds like we have another email this week, Kaige, right?
We do indeed. This one, of course, comes from Isaac, our resident emailer, who says, it is 3 episodes, but he says, these episodes have some cool stuff in them. As someone whose favorite part of the Hunter exam is Zevil Island, I was disappointed that they delayed it, but the Trick Tower episodes were really great. When Leorio is betting on whether Larute is a man or a woman, and Gon says, "What's going on?" and then Tompa wordlessly covers his eyes was so funny. Also, when Leorio is trying to think of something and thinks about betting on whether Kurapika is a woman or a man, I liked that moment too. Additionally, some of the other changes to the betting, like how Larute is a psychologist instead of a gambler and wildlife trafficker, that seemed weird to me, and how, unlike in 2011 where she does this whole I can read your mind thing, she just beats him after one tie. Jonas's fight has always been my second favorite scene in Trick Tower, first being Gon blowing out Seto Khan's candle. Wow, that's your favorite. That's interesting.
I get it to an extent.
It's a fun moment. I do quite like it. Because Jonas has his whole speech about how he can't wait to feel the bleeding chunks of flesh. Yeah, he's a freak.
Very much so.
And oops, I lost my place. And stuff. And then Killua just one-shots him. For the last choice, I thought that it was really cool and in some ways better than 2011. Okay. It's drawn out and has some cool Leorio action, but what I think makes it cool is when they break through the wall. Oh, this episode is better. I thought you were saying the Jonas moment was better. But yeah, no, I do agree this episode is better than 2011. Mm-hmm. Two guys spectate and call them out as breaking the rules, which seems realistic. Also, Kurapika is like, how did you ever think of this? And he says, when Tompa smashed the floor. Oh, really? It wasn't when Killua literally did the same thing in the first phase.
Wait a second.
My god. Wait a minute. Where's Killua's bombs? These would have been perfect right here.
Dude, he doesn't have more pocket bombs on him? Wait, I didn't think
did he use them all up earlier?
I didn't even think about that.
See, this is what filler does to anime.
Yeah.
It makes you have all these questions in the back of your
Wait
head.
a second, where'd they
we'll
go?
never know.
That would have been
Where's
so
Killua's
useful.
bombs. Speaking of which, what happens to those explosive? Nobody mentioned them at all. He goes, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm out" or something. They just ignore the fact that they existed. Yeah, I do wish there would have been a scene where you're just like, "Nah, I used them all up earlier." So
Yeah.
And what was up with Hanzo's head? It's so shiny. What was the point of that? Yeah, we didn't talk about that. They make his bald head very shiny.
The three brothers could see their reflections from his head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been very sweaty, I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. The filler was cool. It does seem to fill a hole in the Hunter exam, but it's so different from anything else. Even the characters think so. But the sequence of Tompa switching rooms was hilarious. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You hit a lot of the points that we talked on earlier for these episodes. But thank you for the write-in. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Isaac, as always.
By the way, I want to mention I have this little game here.
Oh, I didn't even
try to
notice
balance him on there. He sits on my desk, and I was like, why don't I put him up here? So
you got that from your
Funko
Japan
Pop?
trip?
no,
right?
I got it. Yeah, it was a gotcha
okay.
machine.
That was like Funko
I don't
Pop.
I don't know if I can. Yeah, so, it does look like it.
It kind of looks like one.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
I love
man.
the idea of you bringing out a Funko Pop on this podcast.
Yeah, it's like, by the way, guys, I got this Funko Pop,
Funko Pop.
and I'm gonna have it sitting here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
While Dan is fiddling around with his Jing Funko Pop, we'll read the next comment from the Young Knight from YouTube saying, "Is this the episode where Killua rips out Jonas's heart and doesn't hold it in a doggy bag fabulously?" Yes, it is.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
is, yeah.
You are correct there. I that is the one part I appreciate again about that scene. He's not holding in a doggy bag. He's just holding the heart
Right.
itself. Much better, I think. But
And the crush part looks good, too.
yes, Everything else was a little, left to be desired.
Not great. All right, next is from Makio, who says, no matter how much love the 1999 version gets, oh my god, 1990, the
Insert name is gonna
1999
screw him up, guys.
version, insert name might kill me this week.
Shit.
This version gives Leorio he can never escape his canon sin of risking everyone's hunter licenses just to cop a feel on a prison baddie.
Yeah.
So true. My friend and I started watching the 1999 anime alongside you guys at the same time out of sheer coincidence. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I already seen it, but he had only experienced the 2011 adaptation. The 1999 adaptation has a lot of merit, and I understand why many prefer it, but I ultimately appreciate the pacing and consistency of presentation afforded by the 2011 adaptation. While I prefer the 2011 adaptation, I will say that the 1999 adaptation has a soundtrack reminiscent of a 90s PS1 RPG, and it's got quite a comforting atmosphere that I enjoy because of it.
That's a nice
Yeah,
comparison.
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'd agree.
For episode 16, it is cool that we got the raw, uncensored Togashi version of Killua crushing Jonas's heart in front of him like a savage. This might be controversial, but I actually prefer the censored scene in the 2011 adaptation. Wow.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a lot colder that he forces Jonas to watch the heart beat its last beat as he begs for it back. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
After which he places the heart into his dead, outstretched hand. Yeah.
Oh
that.
my god.
Yeah.
For as much as people
That's
meme
awesome.
on the doggy bag, literally everything else about that scene in 2011 is just better, I think.
Yeah, it is for sure. Also, in the 1999 adaptation, Gon gives this creepy smile immediately after Killua rips out the heart, and I'm unsure of what Gon is supposed to be feeling about the situation. That's the animation. That's it. That was a very off-model Gon face. I noticed that too. I don't think that the person animating that scene knew how to read the storyboard he was drawing for. I think is what happened there.
It happens often, honestly.
Yeah, it does. In poorly managed and directed episodes, you'll see that happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much to say about episode 17. It's a pretty straightforward and not much different from the source or 2011 from what I remember. Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Episode 18, though, is where this adaptation goes off the rails with filler that is completely original as they add an entirely unique exam arc to the Hunter exams. While I don't jive with the addition of this exam a lot, I will say that it's fun. It's a fun excuse to see all the characters interact with each other in goofy ways that we don't normally get. Seeing all the characters try to switch rooms with each other so they don't have to share the same space as freaks like Hisoka, Gitaraka, or Snake Man killed me. Yeah, that's the highlight for sure.
Yeah.
I also like how nobody knows the Snake guy's name.
It's just Snake Man.
Yeah. No one ever even bothers to look it up, too. That's
Yeah. Why bother?
Not even us.
yeah.
Nope. Additionally, because this arc has no source material, a lot of the shots feel nice since they designed it from the ground up for animating. Yeah, very true.
It's a good point. Yeah.
The scene with Kurapika burning the Kurta ship was particularly stand out to me. It felt unnecessary for them to explain that some of the Kurta escaped only for them to die at sea anyway, but whatever. Well, I think it means a lot to Kurapika that they at least, put up a fight before they died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it adds some texture to like the whole
Yeah.
how do I put it? Dynamic, I guess. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, something like that. Overall, it was a good batch of episodes. I look forward to your thoughts on the rest of the ship arc. Peace. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the arc.
Curious to see how it transitions, especially from this into the fourth phase.
Yeah.
How that's gonna go.
I assume they will actually take a boat from here, so we're back on track.
They are in a shipyard, I guess, aren't they?
Yeah. Maybe they'll sail there themselves or something. I wonder.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see when we pick this back up, though.
Yeah. You're up, Dan.
All right. This one's from Magitech 09. Okay, let's start. Episode 16. I love how much sinister and twisted they make Leruto.
Larute, I assume.
Larute, yeah.
Oh yeah, Larute, yeah. In general, I just think it adds more to the dread of the whole test. Her taunts and statistic glee as she straight saying, she's going to use paper at the end made her a lot more memorable, at least for me. I can't believe
that does kind of. Oh, sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
that does remind me that I did actually enjoy her voice acting specifically in those scenes that she was in. I thought that was a standout for me as well. I forgot to touch on that earlier.
Yeah, she was really good, actually.
I can't believe this is the only version that bothers to cover Gon's eyes, and by Tompa.
And Tompa actually cared in like that scene. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Good guy. I love how both 99 and 2011 bothered to add a joke here. The 2011 had Gon yelling to ask her if he's a teen or not, and 99 had Leorio thinking about how the man or woman question would be much easier if he could ask about Kurapika, which is almost foreshadowing. But I'm sure, very sure, York knew was not done by this point.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But yeah.
I think this was
Yeah, I wanted to mention that in 2011, the Gon saying you should ask her if she thinks you're an adult or a teen. I thought that was really funny. That's
Unironically, would have been a good bet.
It would have been.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, then episode 17. This episode doesn't have big moments, but still some small ones I like. From Lipo going, "No, let him cook," when Gon starts breaking the wall, to them using Killua's skateboard to slide to the finish line. Also, considering this whole test was made to divide them and break them apart, the fact that we don't get to see them all coming together to break the wall is very satisfying.
Do get to see them all.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And then episode 18, welcome to Lipo's extra exam, also known as Lipo's bonus round. Hope you like it. I'm sure many will talk about the room shenanigans, so I'll limit my shout out to Bedoro and Gozu. Sound like bromance?
The guys working out.
Yeah, and they were like sleeping together in the bed too.
Dude, I gotta say, one of them was doing like a one-legged squat, and like that's insane to me. Like I got respect for that character now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys will feel about the Kurta boat, but I like it. That final scene of Kurapika throwing the medallion back in the old antiquary.
Yeah, maybe that's a word.
Yeah, antiquity? I don't know. Reminiscing about the true value of things. It's something that stayed with me since I watched it for the first time 20 plus years ago. Wow.
Oh, wow.
I think, I mean, I agree. That was a standout scene for the entire batch of episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very good. I liked the Kurta ship stuff, even though it doesn't really make any sense. I like it. It's as long as you don't think about it too hard. Like, given future knowledge. I mean, at the time, there's no reason why this wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's thematic. It fits thematically within the universe. You know, if you disregard, further developments with Togashi specifically in the manga.
Right.
But,
yeah.
It's good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know him, you love him. Maybe you hate him. I hope you don't. I think he's a pretty cool guy.
It's possible.
It's time for the insert name section of the comment section, where he starts off with, "Sorry, this is gonna be a long one." So
man, the second you read that from insert name, you know something insane is coming up.
So we have to split into multiple parts, obviously, and I think his comment showed up actually this time around. So there's
it did. Yes.
Yeah. Still don't know what happened with that last one the other week. No. Anyways, I've been warming up to a conspiracy theory related to 1999 recently. Basically, the theory goes that the 1999 team, or someone in it, bought into the idea that Kurapika is secretly a woman. There's enough weird things that I believe it, like how the movies go weirdly into shipping Gon and Killua. The weird scene where Leorio gets weird about using Kurapika's gender in the betting game is the first example, but episode 18 has a bunch of them. The camera lingering on him in the shower in episode 18, his weird spidey sense when Leorio is making his cool face, and general reaction to naked Leorio has an odd vibe to it. At the very least, the 1999 anime staff are Leorio x Kurapika shippers in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the gender thing exactly. It could, I mean, he could just be gay.
Yeah, true.
Maybe also I don't know that we do see him like naked in the shower and there's
Yeah.
obviously nothing there.
No
So I
tits.
don't know. Yeah.
It is a little strange how like much of a point they make the mystery or like the weirdness of it though. I like that's not something I kind of thought about.
I think I think I know exactly what it is. I think it's to highlight like the femininity of Kurapika. Not that he like is actually a woman, just that he is like a more feminine presenting guy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that would make sense for sure. As for episode 16, it's mostly straightforward with quite a few fun moments. The joke with the monitor turning offline is pretty funny. I'm also convinced Tompa covering Gon's eyes is a rookie crushing scheme. Why would he have done it? We obviously get a return of the chocolate chip cookie, and a newcomer is the lame, bland biscuit that 2011 apparently copied. Oh, yeah, wait.
I want to add, though, I actually didn't talk about this, but I really appreciate the fact that almost every time you see Lippo, he's eating a different kind of cookie or snack. I think that's a really cool touch.
That is funny, actually. I didn't even notice that, so that's better eyes than me. Other than that, the interesting choice to make her a psychiatrist is interesting. The psychoanalyzing is a nice way to make her intimidating. It plays well into Leorio's lingering insecurities and the reason he wants to become a hunter, though the unalive yourself now is a bit heavy-handed. They definitely use her flowing hair effectively to make her seem bigger than she is and significantly more menacing. That's a cool design point, actually. I didn't even kind of consider that with LaRue's.
Yeah, she has cool hair.
Yeah. Does make her seem a bit more intimidating. I also appreciate the little images they use to introduce Jonas. It does a good job of anchoring him into the setting. Yeah, like the images of him like getting arrested and stuff, right?
Yeah, that was cool to see. I liked that.
He's not just an obstacle. He's a real murderer with the history and terror that comes with it. Also, if Jonas is that blacklist hunter's ultimate prize, is he just a fraud? He's never taken down a criminal with Nen? Either way, 1999 is stuck being the most aggressively okay depiction of this scene. It's not as dynamic and savage as the manga, and doesn't have the memeability of Killua, somehow putting the heart in a paper bag. It's cold, but I prefer the other versions just more to get out of it personally. Yeah,
we're with you there.
Pretty much exactly with you. In the dub, Lippo has a line that isn't funny in the slightest, but the read just sticks in my head in a way that it's so humorous to me. He's a man who likes to work with his hands. In the dub, is just so weird it sticks in my head.
Yeah, there's always those lines that just stick with you for no particular reason.
Yeah.
Just likes to work with his hands, man.
He likes to work with his hands. It's true.
That's not wrong. You're right.
Continuing, insert name says, episode 17's waiting scene is a really interesting point of comparison between 1999 and 2011, reflecting the pre-existing choices they already made. In 2011, because they had sped up the process of getting to this point in the story, they could actually afford to slow down the story for an entire episode to really make you feel the sacrifice of that time and give you a bunch of small interactions that help expand the characterization. I personally have never liked Trick Tower that much, so I prefer getting out of it faster, but I think it's pretty undeniable that this was a creative and effective choice. Leorio being pissed at Tompa gets really enforced when you realize Tompa has spent 50-something hours making Leorio smell his sweaty feet. Yeah. 1999 has, on the other hand, dragged the story out and needed to get out of it quickly, and the dynamic montage they use is really great. I especially love drinking bird toy usage as a way to show the passage of time, but still keep the sense of monotony for the characters while picking up the pace. One of the best framing devices in the entire series, to be honest. Yeah, for sure. Overall, I enjoy the small details in that scene. But then, of course, the darkness returns, and it sure does. It's very dark.
Yeah.
Really great to have an Indiana Jones chase where you can't see the ball.
You're so right, actually. Whoa.
That's
just
really
some running
funny.
in darkness.
Yeah, basically. Insert name. I love how critical you are of the lighting. It's so funny. At least the jazzy music during that scene is great. I got to say, I give 1999 a lot of credit for how they handle the two door choice. In the manga, the solution comes out of nowhere, but 1999 is the first to come up with a logical way for Gon to come to the realization that they can break through the walls. Really fitting, and I'm glad 2011 adopted it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
These are the kinds of additions I like, the ones that show clear thought. Yeah, that's what Dan was talking about earlier. On the other hand, I do think it gets hurt when we know Killua has wall-busting bombs and we already use the solution in the tunnel.
I wish we realized that in our discussion.
I know. It didn't come to mind.
But you're so right, though. Why did we have to go through all that effort when Killua has pocket bombs at his disposal? That was used to break through a wall earlier in the exam. So stupid.
Oh, I love that. But on to the big one, episode 18. I'm so hyped to hear your thoughts on it. The brief challenge they get here is actually pretty charming. I could see the exam doing something like making even their relaxation between exams some attempt to force them to acquire currency of equivalent goods. The general survival aspects feel appropriate for the circumstances. I personally question if the skill demonstrated in treasure hunting is actually a fundamental skill of a hunter. For some of them.
Yeah.
This generalist adventure perspective of a hunter, I don't fully feel like it lines up with the driven specialist we eventually get, but given the nature of the procurement in this test, it's fine. It's not like everyone is appraising goods like Kurapika, and it's nice to see of a hunter. So yeah, that's actually something interesting that came to mind too about how like the way that they're presenting what a hunter is in this episode is kind of a general thing. Like they're trying to make it sound like whenever you become a hunter, you're doing all kinds of different things all the time, rather than actually just, like he says, like honing in on one thing and being a specialist in that field.
Right.
Which is interesting. I mean, there's some merit to that. I guess it's kind of like STEM courses in college or something. You just kind of have to do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure treasure hunting actually is a fundamental skill of a hunter. That said, Kurapika geeking out over the goods is adorable, and it does play into the JRPG vibes of the first arc wonderfully. Insert name if you don't mention the Queen of England thing, I'm going to be really pissed at you. The montage of all the hunters finding the goods is so colorful and personable. So many small but fun interactions. I especially love the Tompa trying to mess with Gon plus Killua stuff and the Ilumi Amori brothers interactions. I find it absurd that all these supposable precious relics are in one spot. Yeah.
That's a good point. It's everywhere here.
You're telling me the crown of Jera, the third's mystery is knowledge every hunter should have, presumably because it's a significant and historically relevant artifact, and no one's found it despite being in the hunting grounds of the exam. Maybe they were all planted here. Like, these weren't actually there. There's just, like, the association.
That's what I'd assumed.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. It's believable they just plant these here. Yeah.
Yeah. Even worse, if the association suspected it and left it to the examiners, that's not how you treat... Well, yeah, but they're the Hunter Association. I mean, they can get away with that. They got, like, full control over everything. It's fine.
Right.
But, yeah, that isn't the best way to treat a historical artifact, I suppose. Silly Kurapika, there is no Easter Bunny, there is no... Oh, here we go. There is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England. This is the real world, and you need to wake up. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to take this long one, Dan, or do you want to take the short one at the end?
I'll
give you that out.
That's fine.
All right.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't mind reading.
Time for Dan's initiation.
I need to improve my reading comprehension, anyways.
There you go.
All right. And then we get to the Kurta ship. The idea is super solid, and most of the storyline is executed so well that it's a sufficiently somber and excellent inclusion, allowing Kurapika a chance to shine as an emotional focus.
Focus. Well, it could be foci. Is that a word? I don't know. Insert names
always
always using
insane
insane words. He does this every damn week. He's doing it on purpose at this point.
It's a foci of the episode, similar to the flashback Lorio received. The scene has a tenderness and what's that?
Foci is the plural version of focus.
Oh, emotional focus. So, I don't know if that's the right use of
I
the word
I don't think
foci
you
then.
used it right. Yeah,
Okay.
hey,
It's
I
alright.
think you might need a little vocab lesson.
It's okay. It's okay. The scene has had a tenderness and usage of light in the visuals is fantastic. The way the light casts through the ship to Kurapika's face, being bisected by shadow, and finally the warm glow of the fire just builds an ambiance that comes together in a powerful interaction that builds through the scene. Kurapika slowly worked up the energy to reveal the history of the ship and the somber events that led him there with Leorio passive, but still looming source of comfort and support. It's structured in such a way that Leorio says very little, but a lot is conveyed. The blowing of the horn cuts through the moment and truly does have a sorrowful element despite it loud and disharmonious. And this slow guitar track is just so beautiful here. It just works, and it's frustrating. It logically makes no sense. You can't tell they couldn't figure out why this entire boat is a logical inconsistency. While it's possible the owners of the hotel have only been there a short period, they seem to imply that they've been there a bit, significantly longer than the timeline should be for the Kurta massacre. And as we've already addressed, the Phantom Troops dressed up like cowboys and rode horses. Why would they be taking a ship to escape them? This isn't some long-term extermination. 1999, you come so close to creating circumstances that fit into the setting, but every time it does, it adds one more detail that blemishes the entire concept of it introduces. All of it would take to make this diegetic to the setting of Hunter x Hunter is not to have this be the result of the Phantom Troop. Say it was a Kurta vessel running away from the existent persecution that drove Kurta into hiding, but they didn't stop to think for 5 seconds.
Okay, good points there, for sure.
It is it does actually, I didn't even think about this. It does make the Kurta massacre seem like it took a while, which is absolutely not the case. It was very fast, and that's kind of the whole point of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, in case you guys were also wondering, diegetic
yes.
means occurring within the context of the story and able to be heard by the characters.
You guys didn't know what diegetic meant?
No! What?
No.
You did?
Yes.
No.
That's a very common literary analysis term.
Common, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Big genius over here. All right.
You guys went to you graduated college. I didn't. What the fuck?
I didn't study for English!
I didn't either.
All right. Killua being an assassin scared of icky things is a steer bit.
Okay, man. That's enough, insert name.
Works both ways too. Killua must be irrational for the double standard, but Gon is suspiciously fine with his friend using people's hearts for stress balls. Another steer bit
What
is
the
the
fuck,
swapping
man?
of the rooms.
You
Well, I don't
can't just
think
use
he's
that.
so has really earned the level of fear he gets in this version of the story. His section of being the final oh shit, I've really been trading for worse and worse accommodations is great. Especially love the two martial artists just working out and all the stuff with the snakes. Its dumb face in the bath scene gets me every time. Great way to get everyone a bit of time to show their personality quickly. Anyone who loves 99 will tell you how much it expands on other contestants, and they are totally right. Pretty much every other contestant is more fleshed out here, from the constantly belittling of the younger Amori brother who has to sleep on the ground as shown when they go through all of them sleeping, to Hanzo cutaways, and Tompa and Ponzo, etc., etc.
Ponzu.
Oh, yeah, Ponzu. Yep.
That wasn't your fault.
No, I know.
Yeah.
He's slipping.
All right. The total cost of this arc is so much more dynamic, but the problem I always had with it is while I enjoy the 99 depiction of any individual act within the storyline, it fails to prepare for future events, and its theming of the actions get muddled. This will become more clear as the exam and this 3.5 part of the exam goes up. 99 is focused on characters and emotional beats and does so at the expense of the rest of the story, in my opinion. The exam always has been awkward for Hunter x Hunter, or he said HXH, in that it's a preview into setting and concepts of the story, but it is in many ways significantly different from the rest of the material. 99 tries to get you as immersed in the exam as it fleshes out its characters but slows down and muddles the quick and effective messaging of the arc. 2011 blasts through the material, getting you over that hurdle as quickly as possible. I can see value in both approaches in the concept, but I do have eventual problems with the execution of 99 that prevent me from seeing it as a viable and consistent introduction to the series. It fails in many long-term regards, but what it does have, and why I keep going back to wonderful episodes and moments like these that, while in the greater whole probably don't belong, I enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. Once all's said and done, we're done with this adaptation. I feel like I'll probably have a pretty similar perspective on it that you do here.
Yeah, there's an active trade-off happening with the delivery of the story compared to the other adaptations, and that's what makes it interesting to me to consume.
I agree.
Definitely.
I agree.
So, ending off insert names comment here. As you can probably tell, they spend a little bit more time on the island. I don't think this filler should exist, but I do love it dearly. I'd argue it's part of a series of 10 episodes that I consider some of the best that 1999 has to offer. Okay. I am conflicted. If the story had spent less focus on this unnecessary material, it wouldn't fuddle some of the latter material and be a more complete series. But given we now have a more complete series, it's really hard not to enjoy these incredibly fun and personable episodes. I both love and loathe this stretch. The presence of 2011 makes me have a far more favorable opinion, though. And Leorio, man, you gotta find a better pattern for your boxers.
They did look like shit. I'm not gonna lie. I noticed that too.
What were they? Were they like striped, right? Or
yeah, they were like
yeah.
red stripes.
Oh,
Come
wow.
on, man.
Awful.
Disgusting.
Okay, well that makes me pretty excited to check out this filler. I'm really
Yeah.
curious to see what we end up thinking about it.
Yeah, I thought it was off to a good start. So
I like what he mentioned, how, maybe if this was the only adaptation we had, I'd be more, annoyed at filler and
Right.
frustrated that,
Yeah.
they used it and everything. But since we have such a great adaptation later on, it's nice to just have extra added stuff,
It reminds me a lot of what's happened with Dragon Ball ever since like Kai came out, where suddenly we have like this whole crowd of people, talking about how the filler is like some of the best content in the series and yada yada, like really beloved stuff now all of a sudden. And I mean that's because we have a version of it that doesn't have filler. So I think it's just making people appreciate what we had more.
It makes sense.
I think definitely what happened here.
hindsight really is 2020.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, that does it for comments this week. Kind of, I would say short amount of comments overall. The content was pretty full still. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who wrote in. And again, reminding that if you want to get in on the discussion week to week, be sure to keep an eye out for YouTube community posts or the posts on Twitter and Bluesky. And you can always email us your thoughts if you're an audio-only listener at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com.
That's right. And with this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, review, and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod as well as Bluesky at THAPod for updates on the show and as an alternative way to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. As always, we'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x. Dan, where can people find you online?
Twitter, DanTheMan5252, YouTube, DanTheMan5252, although I don't post any videos on there. There's a slight backlog.
One day
See the
over
backlog.
Yeah. And then Bluesky, I think, is also DanTheMan5252, unless that was taken,
so.
but I don't think it was, so... Yeah.
You're really famous, so I mean.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Maybe.
A lot of copycats looking to. Usually, when a new social media goes up, it's taken right away. But have to end up paying a couple $100,000 for the rights of the username. So
That must suck.
yeah, it's tough.
Dylan, how about you?
Okay, yep. Usual apps, DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN on Twitter and Bluesky. I've really been in my WWE phase again as of late. Been tweeting a lot about that, so go check out my account if you're interested in that stuff.
And of course, you can find me at Kaige10 on Bluesky. That's KIIGE10. I haven't been posting a whole lot, but I will when I feel like it.
Hey, you have some stuff cooking though. I've seen that post on Bluesky.
Yes, there's
Yay.
some cooking.
Ah.
Keep an eye out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dan, thanks for coming on, man. It was a blast. We always
Yep.
love having you on.
Yep, it's great.
Welcome back to the rotation.
Yeah, yep, it's good to be back. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, I'd like to continue on the journey through this adaptation and be on again eventually sometime.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to have you on at
Absolutely.
some point.
Yep.
No doubt. All right, guys. So we're off next week, but we should have a little bonus episode. Probably not a crazy big one, but I want to get something out on Sunday because I feel bad that this was such an unplanned off week.
Yeah. Well, we'll try and get
so-
something small out at least for you guys to have that weekend.
So no call-out post or anything coming up this week, but the week after, remember, we will be doing part 2 of our Gone retrospective. That'll be a very big episode. Really excited to talk about the latter half of Gone's story. That's gonna be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a good guest on for that one too, so look forward to it and get your thoughts ready for that. Prepare. You got an extra week now to get your thoughts ready for that. So
That'd be
insert
good.
name, I'm sure. That's gonna be.
We need double.
Is it-
We need double.
Is insert name comments is that beatable with prep time? Like, is that like Batman with prep time? Like equivalent of YouTube
That
comments?
is like Batman with prep time, I think. Yeah. All right, guys. So, thanks for listening or watching, and we'll catch you next week. No, we won't. Maybe we'll something.
We'll see you guys whenever.
See ya.